All right, then. Welcome to United and Everything Football Podcast. It's your favorite podcast here on YouTube. Thank you very much for always joining this beautiful podcast. Today, I'm joined by my very good friend, Collins Atapoku Classy. We will also be joined by Michael Akomia the Bizarre. You know what it is? The biggest fixture in English football. Manchester United at Old Trafford against Liverpool will be coming on. We are here to preview that game, what to expect, what are the historical antecedents that we should be looking out for, some of the few things that we should be looking out for in this game. Let me tell you something. Since Erik ten Hag came into United, Liverpool have never picked up or have never beaten us at Old Trafford. Not in any competition. Not in any competition at Old Trafford. In the FA Cup, we lashed them on our way to win it last season. They came to Old Trafford in the first season. We lashed them 2-1. Last season, when everyone thought that Liverpool were going to steamroll over us so that they could win that game, it ended 2-2 at Old Trafford. So we'll see what's going to happen. As usual, remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. It's always important to us. Michael Akomia, the Messiah, has also joined us. So let me quickly welcome my friends. Should I say this is Sompa TV Annex?
Nah.
Yes, your uncle is here. Collins, you're welcome.
All right, thank you, man. How are you?
Very well. It's good to have you on the podcast as always. Always good to have you.
Hey, Cecilia, what the birthday in our from a happy birthday? Hey,
Michael, how have you
been? I am good. Me of what you be seeing the birthday amano. It's only event organizer.
Of course, it's my only niece's birthday. My niece's birthday. So I'm celebrating the birthday for her. I've invested into it. It's a huge investment from the Bank of Ghana. A lot from the treasury. The money that came that was going to Liberia, they paid me some so that I could use it for this birthday.
It's very important.
Some birthday.
Guys, it's always great to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for joining. As usual, remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Let me make a quick turnaround. When I come back, I'll hear from Collins why he's so convinced they will beat us in this game. And I'll hear from Akomia why Erik ten Hag don't have to mess up. We'll discuss a few things here on United and Everything for you. All right, thank you very much, guys. Welcome back to the podcast. It's always great to have you on this. Subscribe, and give us the likes. A lot of it. We need a lot of it because it helps the channel. It boosts us on this channel. Collins, let me start with you. What makes you think you are going to be United on Sunday?
The match I watched at Columbia in South Carolina, and then the training I saw of both sides when they were in the United States. I had a chance to watch the press allowed first 15 minutes, and it's quite clear that Manchester United have not departed from their own ways.
Mm-hmm.
The first way is that they are very profligate. When I heard the fans complaining about the wasting of chances, I just laughed because if you watch them in preseason, in their games, they were blowing chances away like that.
Mm.
I watched that game against Liverpool after a day, and then on the replay, if Rashford had been clinical, that game could have been 2-0 before Liverpool even scored their first goal through Fabio Carvalho. And then they still thrive on chaos in midfield. They don't control. They expect you to drop the odd pass, drop the odd error, and then they would go after you through Bruno Fernandes and his cohorts. So even though they are signed players, they still don't have a proper momentum controller. But rather they have players who feed off the energy and momentum of what the opponent is doing wrong and not right. So what it means is that if you get somebody who is able to control chaos, and they are going to also be profligate, then they are going to play into the hands of Liverpool. And they know them. They know them because they played them against, they played them in the pre-season match. You forget about the result, but the shape and intensity, you could clearly see. It's interesting to note that Liverpool's experiment of Ryan Gravenberch in midfield started against Manchester United. And that was the first time they were actually trying to see if he can adapt. So with him and then the shuttling business of Dominic Szoboszlai, who for me has been Liverpool's best player at the start of the season, I'm pretty sure that they have what it takes to stop the errors. You see, you referenced the FA Cup game. If they had been smacked, that game would have been put to bed. But they were also enjoying the chaos, blowing chances. That was the first time I saw Liverpool through Diaz and Gakpo on a 3v2. They still managed to waste that chance. And they did not even have one. They had two. Now, you roll it back. And in the league game, it was the FA Cup game.
Yeah.
There was a goal for one of these players. I think it was Rashford. Inexplicable circumstances. Darwin Núñez, the hot-headed guy, decided to play a square pass across his own defensive third. And Manchester United latched onto that wave pass and punished Liverpool. You watch their first two games and then the preseason games, and you see that they are tightening the loose ends and controlling things better. How many chances have they conceded this season? They've conceded 4 chances to their opponents across 2 games. Their goalkeeper has 2 clean sheets. And their defenders are not doing the overtime and are comfortable and are spraying diagonals to set up goals. So clearly you can see that there are changes to their approach. But Manchester United have stuck to the chaos ball, hoping that Mainu, Bruno Fernandes will pick it up. Genuinely, this is a game that I would have loved to see Højlund. And it's also one of the reasons why I think Manchester United can be Liverpool and Liverpool win. Because you need somebody to ruffle the feathers. Dilap, if anybody watched that first 45 minutes of Ipswich, people are scapegoating Jarrell Kwanzaa. But no, it was the entire setup that was struggling to deal with what the English football people call a battling ram. Somebody who is not afraid to come after you and who is not afraid to make the runs. Højlund is not a penalty box striker. He actually makes runs to the left and right-hand channels a lot. Dilap was doing the same, and not just Kwanzaa. The entire Liverpool defensive shape was struggling in the first half. So who is going to take up that job? Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes in a false 9. Bruno Fernandes off.
Mount is out of this game due to a hamstring injury that he's picked up. So
another indication of my confidence. Thanks for giving me that information. Personally, if you're a Manchester United fan, you should be worried. You see, I understand he's not been flamboyant. But these days, when you get closer to these coaches, you try to understand how they see football.
Yeah.
You guys should check the press statistics and the counter press statistics of Manchester United in their first 2 games. They press way better than they did last season. And it's more coordinated. It is very, very coordinated. Their press is so coordinated. He was leader of the press pack. He and Bruno Fernandes. So yes, I mean, they have options. I'm pretty sure it is either Zexi is leading the attack so that Garnacho, Bruno, Rashford would play behind him, something like that. But the guy, even though he's not been flamboyant and he's not been excellent, let me put it that way, but he's been very consistent in the first 2 game statistics on the press metric and the counter press metric. But then again, how are Liverpool going to play against the crowd this time round? Because the crowd always play against them and the crowd wins over them. When they are not supposed to play the wrong pass, they do. I mentioned Darwin Núñez, an experienced footballer, doing that thing in the FA Cup. Jarrell Kwanzaa gave away Liverpool's league title chase at the Old Trafford Stadium with that pass to Bruno Fernandes. Look at how he dispatched the chaos shot. Chaos pass to a chaos shot, and the game was turned on its head.
Anyway, Michael, Atta has said a lot. He's made arguments as to why he thinks that Liverpool will be Man United. He's talked about the change that Arne Slot has brought to the team. You listen to a lot of interviews that he's granted, and he is more focused on controlling the game rather than the ping balls or the basketball that we've seen from Jurgen Klopp's side. The moment they get the ball, they have to quickly attack. and they look to be controlling, things a lot more better. Do you agree with Arteta's assessment of United that things haven't changed that much? And do you think that United stand any chance of winning this game?
Okay. I think my uncle have said a lot here, and there are some positives I would love to pick from it. I know Liverpool are now trying to move with a 3 Ps: patience, possession, and precision. They will have to be very patient. They will have to have the ball, keep the ball, and they will have to be very much precise when it comes to passing the ball. It's not just passing it for passing its sake. They want to make it count at the end of the day. But this is a fixture that always brings something different. This is a fixture like Koroko and Haas, that anything can actually happen. The momentum can change. One can actually be in the game within 5 minutes and 10 heads and win at the end of the day. I think Ancelotti is coming to play Manchester United. This is not the Manchester United of preseason. This is the Manchester United that Liverpool has failed to beat at Old Trafford in the last 2 games or 3 games at Old Trafford, which they are struggling to beat. So there's a certain level or there's a certain standard Ancelotti will need to get to make sure that he overcomes that particular thing. Number 2, there's an old rivalry that has been revived between Feyenoord and Ajax, looking at Erik ten Hag and Ancelotti. I usually watch their games in the Eredivisie, and it was too tenacious, and you could feel the energy from the bench, just walk into the players, and these players are giving up their best. But if there are 3 things I'm going to base on to say that Manchester United have a chance in this game, is 1, Erik ten Hag being much more experienced in this particular fixture. Number 2, I think Manchester United at Old Trafford against Liverpool in the last few games has been quite difficult for Liverpool to beat them. And number 3, don't ever think Manchester United losing a game coming into this particular game against Liverpool is going to go so much low for Liverpool to just win this game and go alongside with anything that they will have to take away. I agree with my uncle so well that Mason Mount has been a key component in our press this season, and you can't take it away from him. But in as much as he is away, I think there's an opportunity for Zexi to also come in, to also show us what he has for us, because definitely Rasmus Højlund is not going to play this game. We have not seen so much of Zexi due to the number of minutes he's played. And I want to look at Zexi and assess him against Virgil van Dijk, whom I believe he's one of the best centre backs in the Premier League, and could actually help you make sure that you don't even have a sniff of the ball during these particular games. I want to see what he has in store for us in this particular encounter. But all of these games is about Erik ten Hag, his experience in this fixture, and Manchester United losing against Brighton and Hove Albion, coming to Old Trafford against Liverpool. It will take a lot for Liverpool to win this game against Manchester United.
I'm just looking at the statistics between Erik ten Hag and Ancelotti. They faced off 4 times and it's been 2 apiece. So the rivalry continues.
So it's quite tenacious.
Yes, the rivalry continues between the 2 managers. One from Feyenoord, one from Ajax, I would see. And even from the United side, there are 2 other additional managers from former PSV coach, former Go Ahead Eagles coach, also in the dugout for Manchester United. So it looks like an all-Dutch affair, because you look at the lineup of coaches even at Liverpool, and there's quite a number of Dutch people also on that bench.
And there's Van Dijk.
Yes.
There's
Van Dijk, Zexi,
there's Matthias de Ligt.
Cody Gakpo, and a few other Dutch guys also in the fold for Liverpool. But Collins, a lot of United fans seem to have noticed that there isn't that gaping holes that we saw in last season's games, as we used to see. It looks as if Erik ten Hag is structuring the team a lot more better based off of what we've seen from preseason and all of that. We agree that yes, the profligacy is still there, but it looks as if things are a bit more controlled, a bit more, not a lot more, but things are a bit more controlled and all of that. How do you think that would play out? I mean, coming up against Liverpool, is it going to be that kind of game where both teams will be cautious and not in a rush to initiate attacks like we used to see in the previous games that we've seen for the club?
All right. So if you look at it clearly, Liverpool have played 2 games.
Yeah.
They've scored 4 goals, and they've not considered a single one.
Yeah.
Manchester United has played. They've played 2 games.
2
They've
games. Scored 2, conceded 2.
Now, if I were better, I'll be careful on putting a bet on a goal in the first half for just one reason. Liverpool are just like Manchester United, but more efficient. In the first half, they actually spoil the game. They are not creating enough in the first half like they do in the second half. If you look at the shots on goal in the game against Brentford, the first half was 5. The second half was 16. So, go to the Ipswich game. Ipswich got tired. And Liverpool found their way. So the intensity would come into play here. Why would you be cautious in this game? Because it's early season. And you don't want to gift your opponent momentum. Now, if Liverpool wins, they are unbeaten going into the international break. And they've played the most difficult games in the season. Manchester City went to Chelsea. But Liverpool are going to Manchester United. That is a traditional top fixture in the league.
Yeah.
So imagine they go and win there. They would be on cloud 9. Have lost painfully right at the death in a game that on a different afternoon, I would have won at the American Express Stadium in Brighton. I rebound from that painful defeat with a resounding victory over my arch rival, making a statement in the season that what happened at the American Express Stadium on the South Coast was just a blip. So there's a lot at stake. Now, if Liverpool really go to Manchester United and come away with a 1-0 or a 2-0 victory, they are unbeaten and nobody has scored against them. Now, just imagine that for a moment. So there's a lot at stake. It's early season, yes. It's only the 9th point we are fighting for, yes. But a lot is at stake. And that's why I agree with Akumi when he says it's not just an ordinary game. A lot goes into it. But you observe the games both have played, and you see that Liverpool turn on the style in the second half. Secondly, they have 3 ways. Akumi said 3 Ps. I see 3 ways Liverpool come after you now. Either they are switching the diagonal to go in behind your fullbacks for Salah and Diaz to attack you, or they are switching through the middle with Trent playing a diagonal right across your penalty box. I could count about 6 of these that he played into Diaz and Jota during the game. And now Liverpool can penetrate through the middle against Ipswich. Szoboszlai played that pass through the middle. Against Brentford, Luis Diaz played that pass to Salah for the second goal from the middle. So now the centre backs will be occupied, the full backs will be occupied, and then they have midfielders coming up. Cat and mouse. If they drop that ball with a wayward pass, the midfielders are committed. Gravenberch is not a 6. He's a deep line playmaker. He hasn't got that discipline or positional discipline to track runners and foul them like an elite number 6 would do. And that is bread and butter for the creativity of Bruno Fernandes. We are talking about the pace of Liverpool's wing forwards. Manchester United equally have pace. They've just been profligate. And if Zexby is dropping, and you tell Ibrahim Konate to drop with him and man mark him, that space will be occupied by somebody. And they could go 2v3, 2v2 with Van Dijk, and whoever would be there. When Ibrahim Konate has left, it means Trent is already gone. So you've got to manage all that. Look, I'm looking forward to a beautiful game. And imagine being Zexy, seeing that you have Eric Ten Hag on your bench, one of the greatest goal scorers, is also sitting there. Man, if you deliver, you've delivered for yourself and for Ruud van Nistelrooy and the entire Netherlands fraternity. Imagine being Gravenberch, stopping Bruno Fernandes with a slide, driving through the heart of Manchester United's midfield and laying on a pass for Salah. A lot comes at stake. I think Acuna drew my attention to this. Look, the Netherlandization of this fixture is more than the coaches.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, you would speak about teammates. Ruud van Nistelrooy played with John Heitinga.
Yeah.
Heitinga is on Liverpool's bench.
Yep.
So Zegzi's former coach at the national team is on Liverpool's bench.
Yeah.
Ruud van Nistelrooy was with the national team setup too. So the similarities are so clear. There's a lot at stake for everybody involved. But this is a great testimony to the greatest European soccer nation for sports and human development. That they've sent emissaries into what is regarded as the best league in Europe. And then in a fixture that crowns English football, the Dutch component is so evident, even with the performance trainers or physical trainers. So I mean, it's a good thing for the league, and I'm actually going to enjoy this. It's a Dutch affair. You mentioned the players; they are on both sides.
Yeah,
forget about it. The undertones are too much. I genuinely would love to see Matthijs de Ligt play this game.
Yeah,
genuinely, if there is opportunity for him, because he's one of the players I so rate.
Anyway, Agobia, let's look at let's look at some of the key guys who would make a difference in this game, especially for Man United. Okay. We have about just 8 minutes to wrap things up on the podcast. But quickly, let's look at some of the games, the players that are likely to make a difference in this game, and tie that into the pressure that mounts on Erik ten Hag should in case he fails to win this game.
Kwame, I will say it once and for all. This is going to actually damage a lot when it comes to Erik ten Hag when he loses this game, to be very honest. Ancelotti just came into the league. Liverpool, they've not been flamboyant in the transfer market. And they have literally...
How did you buy players?
Yes.
You spent money, big money.
So there's much pressure on him that if he fails to win this game, hell is going to actually break loose for Erik ten Hag. And I don't think he's really going to have a say going into the rest of the games during the season. Ruud van Nistelrooy is right over there. I've always been saying this. He's a legend of the club. They respect him so much. It's not like he was a flop at PSV and Hoven. He was that good. And they could give him a chance to work around this team like they gave Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at some point in time for Manchester United. So Erik ten Hag is having a lot to do this particular weekend. But you see, Dutch football and the kind of disgrace they've actually embraced in the Premier League for some time now through coaches can be restored on Sunday in terms of the level of respect they'll have to get. Can actually be restored. The Premier League has always been about Spanish players, Italians, but the English players we've always seen in the league, Italians, Spanish players, Brazilians, these guys, Portuguese, these guys have always taken over the English Premier League. Go and look at your Wolverhampton Wanderers, it's Brazil or Portugal. But now the two biggest clubs are bringing in these coaches, bringing in these players. It means a lot. But there are three key battles I'm really keen to see. You see, whenever Liverpool is building in possession with the 3-2-2-3 kind of formation in terms of their build-up, one thing I'm so much enthused about is how Konate covers for Alexander Trent-Arnold. He's that athletic, he's strong, and he's not easy to bully in 1v1 situations. Marcus Rashford will need to play at his optimal best to beat Konate on Sunday. Garnacho will need to play at his optimal best to beat Konate on Sunday. It is very key. The number 2 battle, the technical quality Liverpool offers in the middle of the pack. There's a level of technical security in that midfield with Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Gravenberch, which you need to do a lot to make sure that you don't commit so much, because these guys can keep the ball so well and maneuver their way through tight spaces. So Casemiro, Cobmenu, Bruno Fernandes will need to be extremely disciplined in making sure that these guys, you press them at the right time. You don't just rush into tackles because they are too secure when it comes to technicalities, or when they are on the ball, it's quite difficult. Then I'll be looking forward to how Mazraoui would deal with Luis Diaz. I'm telling you, Salah is scoring the goals, but Luis Diaz looks very dangerous in this setup, especially on quick transitions. And he has that speed, he has everything. So you need your right centre back to be covered, just like Konate is doing for Alexander Trent-Arnold to help. So I agree with Bishop that Matthijs de should actually start this game and we'll see the best. So these are 3 key battles. Okay. Anyone that wins from these particular positions, I believe they have a chance to win the game.
Is United winning the game, Akumia?
Double chance Manchester United. Difficult for them to lose after losing to Brighton and Hove Albion.
United is not losing this.
And Eric Ten Hag knows this.
Collins, wrap it up. What do you think will happen in this game? In about 2 or 3 minutes.
No, until I wake up on Sunday morning or afternoon and hear that Mohamed Salah has an injury that has ruled him out of the game.
Please be back.
I mean, we are winning. Because he's the guy. I mean, he's the guy that brings the goals. And he owns that stadium and that club. But just imagine for a moment that we throw Chiesa into this game to deal with the pain. I mean, come and burn some pace for us after 78 minutes. Man, let's put the jokes aside. You know what? There is technical security in the midfield of Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a defense and a goalkeeper that makes them secured. That is not the same thing at the other end.
Mm-hmm.
And I genuinely wanted to see Ugarte play. I don't know if they've registered him or they've...
I'm sure they will register him. They have up to tomorrow 12 p.m. to make their registration.
So they will tomorrow.
Yes.
And maybe he's not trained enough and they wouldn't want to risk him for a night.
He's actually not been match fit because since the Copa America, he hasn't played any football since
he's been playing with Chiesa. Has he played any game? He's not.
No, Chiesa
right?
has not played any game as well.
Yeah, so they should take their time and get him.
He was actually also exiled. So both players were exiled by their respective coaches. So
they needed to trade anyway for Thiago Motta. So I expect a very good game. I'll do a 2-0 Liverpool. Yeah,
2-0 Liverpool. Akumia, be bold and say your scoreline. Akumia, be bold and mention your scoreline.
What is this double chance? Double chance. What is double chance? You've not won
Manchester
United. Double chance.
Amad Diallo would do with some people within the Tidore.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's one we want to see.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. For my prediction, United is winning 1-0. 1-0 in this game. We'll win 1-0. We'll
shut Onana fans.
We'll stay compact and we'll just neutralize everything they bring to us. And then if by virtue of some counter attack, we'll add another one to make it 2-0. But I think it's 1-0 by United in this game. Thank you very much. Let me hear you. You wanted to say something before I wrap up.
It's a Salah show. It is a Salah show in that stadium. It's a Salah show.
It's great having you guys on the podcast today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Michael.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Colin.
No, Fadia. Yes, so almost Sunday. They will ship up.
Where will you see me? Where will you see me? Because I'll be the one whipping you. I'll be whipping you. Oh, I'll finish you.
Oh, if you don't know these two, well, they are very, very close. Two close people. Thank you very much for watching. It's great having you on the podcast. And also remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. And also right after the game, as you know, myself and Kwame will be here to discuss everything that's got to do with the game. Whether we lose, we draw, or we win, we'll be here to discuss everything. It's been great having you. Have a great time. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.